This is a Sports Radio Live podcast covering your world of sports. Bryan Houston's Sports Radio Live. It's weekdays at 3 on 99.3 Talk FM, the talk of East Texas.
Right now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete. APECGo.com is a guy that's followed the Cowboys draft all weekend long, and he's with us right now from CBS 11. Steve Dennis. How you doing, Steve?
Brian, I'm fine. You're not old enough to know Bull Durham, are you?
I'm way old enough to, trust me, way old enough to follow that, Babe Ruth personally or something, too. So,
one of the top 5 movies of all time right there, baby.
One of my all-time favorites, no question about it. Stewardess ought to have been on it, man. It left here so fast. All right, I want to know what you think about the Cowboys draft, first of all.
Well, I love the aggressive nature of the entire offseason. And I think by trading up and getting a guy they didn't even think they had a chance to get is more of that aggression. This team has worked on switching out and improving the core group of players here. And they've got 7, 8 new starters. And I think that was necessary. And I love it. I love Mo Claiborne. I've been covering this team for 15 seasons, and I can't remember 2 corners on each end that have this kind of potential, unless it was Dion at the end of his days with Pup. But it's going to be good. They're doing what they need to do, get better.
What did you think about the idea of giving up the second-round pick to get Claiborne, though?
Well, I can see where people would be concerned by that. If you go back and look at the second-round picks the Cowboys have made in the last decade, I don't think it's anything to cry over. Martellus Bennett, Jacob Rogers, Dwayne Goodrich. I can't even remember the others, but there were a lot of bummers. This Claiborne is a top 5 talent in this draft, and it's going to cost you something. Actually, I think they got him pretty cheap.
They did.
I think it should have cost another draft pick to get him.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Well, the only thing about this draft that bothered me just a little bit was that, again, they have issues on the lines, both offensive and defensive lines, and yet they take only 1 lineman in the draft. And then you look at what Pittsburgh did, and they took 2 really good offensive linemen in their first and second round picks. I mean, if the Cowboys, for all the good they've done, have they figured out yet that the lines are what makes teams great? Look at the Giants.
Yeah, well, first of all, to answer your Pittsburgh comment, Pittsburgh and New England are phenomenal. They draft very well every year. I mean, those are 2 model franchises that don't mess around. But don't forget, the Cowboys got 2 new guards in free agency, and they expect both of them to start. They just signed Jeremy Parnell, so they've got 3 offensive linemen who didn't play at all last year, who will this year. Now, the center issue with Phil Costa is an area of discussion, I think. They did nothing to address that. I think they still like Costa. But anyway, see, I expected the Cowboys to move up in this draft, but I thought they were going to get Fletcher Cox. And so I'm with you on that. I thought pass rushing was priority 1. But the bigger picture, they just needed to get a defensive monster in this draft, and they did it with Claiborne. I thought they were going to move up to the 9, 10, 11 range and get Fletcher Cox, the D end, to address what you're talking about. I'm not real comfortable with what they have on the D-line except for Ratliff. Kenyon Coleman, Marcus Spears, Jay Hatcher, they're all just kind of guys. I was hoping they'd get somebody a little more electrifying there to be a monster on defense, but they went Claiborne, didn't think they could get him, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Looking at the rest of their draft picks, none of these guys are household names. Of the bunch, who are you excited about? Who really kind of gets you going there?
Well, if you listen to the Cowboys talk, they love the 2 guys they got in the 4th round. They swear up and down those are the 2 guys they wanted to get in the 4th round. The linebacker Wilbur out of Wake Forest and Johnson, the safety. Who knows? I mean, we won't know till we see him on the field this weekend. The Tyrone Crawford kid sounds like a project for a couple of years before he makes an impact. I like the Danny Cole guy in the 5th round as a slot receiver. There's been a lot of consternation about the 3rd receiver with LaRon Robinson leaving. Mm-hmm. I haven't been that concerned about it because I think it's the first time anybody's ever worried about the 3rd receiver around here, as long as Jason Witten's been here. But he had such a good year. This Danny Cole kid's interesting, mixing in now with Ogletree and Holmes and Radway and Harris to find a couple of more receivers that'll help, and who knows how that's going to end. And the James Hanna dude from Oklahoma, the tight end, I like that pick too. They needed to replace Martellus Bennett, and they went to a more pass-receiving tight end instead of a blocking tight end, which is what Bennett was. This guy's fast. I mean, if he gets in the mix with Phillips handling most of the blocking tight end duties, Witten and Hanna, running around, could be pretty good.
Okay, and then they signed a bunch of free agents today, and they really addressed offensive line when I think they signed 6 offensive linemen amongst all these free agents. And you saw the list. Is there anybody that jumps off the sheet there at you?
Well, I think it's interesting. They signed Lance Dunbar from North Texas, the running back. I'm thinking in terms of stories we're going to do.
I like it.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, he ran for a lot of yards at North Texas. And nobody drafted him, had a pro day and everything, and nobody drafted him. I think the one the Cowboys are most excited about is the Ronald Leary guy from Memphis, the guard, who's got some knee issues. But again, if you believe what they're telling us, they had earmarked him to be drafted in the 5th, 6th round and took the chance nobody would take him and then grabbed him first. So I think they're excited about him. But, you look at the Cowboys' history, Brian, you know this. I mean, you look at this list of 21 undrafted free agents, 1 or 2 of those guys will probably make the team, practice squad, or roster. They always do. And Philip Tanner was a guy last year who did. I think Radway would have. So a couple of these guys are going to make the team. I have no idea which. We've got all OTAs and mini camps and then training camp to figure that out. But a couple of them will.
And usually they end up with more of those guys than they do guys from the draft that actually make the team.
Which I'm not quite sure what that means. But yeah, I mean, the Cowboys have a great history of undrafted guys contributing, and they're very proud of that, which is all part of it. But if you put the whole thing together, Brodney Poole, Dan Connor, the 2 offensive linemen, the new fullback, Carr at one corner, Claiborne at the other corner, and then whatever else they get out of the draft and these undrafted guys, this team is getting better, and it needed to. We've been watching this core group of guys fail virtually for 8 years. The only keepers, in my opinion, are Romo, Witten, Ware, Miles.
That's it.
Are the guys that I consider core guys. The new guys, Sean Lee, Des Bryant, those are more the new guys. I'd put Free in there too. He's an old core guy, Doug Free. But they needed to switch out the Newmans, the Bradys, the safeties we've had come through here, and Martellus, and it's just been a mess of failure, and they need new, young, better talent, and I think Jason Garrett's working in that direction.
Are you of the opinion that there has to be a certain number of players from a draft that end up being starters for a draft to be considered successful? Like say there needs to be 3 starters out of this group that comes out of this draft for it to be a good draft?
Well, we had a big discussion about that out at Valley Ranch, all of us media geniuses, and I have a different opinion than most. I could care less about the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. If you get 2 superlative players out of every draft, I think you're successful. Last year, Tyron Smith, DeMarco Murray. Those are definite keepers. And Bruce Carter may be a 3rd. To me, if you do that every year, I don't care what rounds you get them in, if you get 2 exemplary players and a third that's close to that, then you're successful. Now, Claiborne is obviously going to be that.
Sure.
Better than they imagine. So now down the road, you've got to get Crawford, Wilbur, Johnson, Cole, or Hannah to be the second and then part of a third for this to be a successful draft. No, I'm not like Goose Goslin with the Morning News who cares about value and you need this and depth. And I've been watching too many guys come to the Cowboys through the draft that don't even make the roster. I mean, 4 and 5 a year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just so it's hard for me to believe the draft is that big a deal. I think you just need to get 2 or 3 super starter type players, however you get them, whatever round.
So based on what you've seen so far with free agency, with the draft, how much did they close the gap between themselves and, say, the Giants and the Eagles?
Well, I think the Eagles had a great draft, too.
That's not good news.
The Cowboys do not match up well with the Eagles. They got beat by them twice last year and could have got run in both games. All this talk of the Giants, great, they won the Super Bowl. The Eagles are the team that if I would have been the Cowboys, I would have been making draft picks and making moves worried about the Eagles. They just don't match up well with them. And, the Eagles got much better on defense. They got Fletcher Cox in the 12th round and the kid from Marshall, Curry, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. They got a big linebacker in the 2nd round. The Eagles are going to be good. I think Andy Reid blew it last year. They should have been good. I'm surprised he survived, to be honest. But, yeah, it's about the Eagles to me, and I think that their draft was exemplary. It's going to be tough. The Eagles are going to be monsters. The Cowboys are fighting. The Giants are the defending champions, although I don't think they're that good. But there you go.
I'm fairly depressed now.
And, hey, don't forget RG3 in Washington.
Yeah.
Shanahan's improving that thing, too.
And his new best friend, Kirk Cousins, to go along with it.
Yeah, how about that?
What
Kirk
was that
Cousins,
about?
He's gonna feel sick. I mean, he's a legitimate starter prospect, and he's going to be behind RG3 at least for a few years before he gets a chance.
The whole thing's just insane. Hey, we really do appreciate you coming on, Steve. Thanks very much for giving us some insights, man. I hope you enjoy the rest of the spring.
Yeah, the rookies are on the field this weekend, and then we got all the OTAs. So we'll be busy with Cowboys, and Bryan and I always enjoy it. We'll see you soon, man.
Good to see you, man. Thank you very much. That's Steve Dennis from CBS 11 on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.
This is a Sports Radio Live podcast covering your world of sports. Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live. It's weekdays at 3 on 99.3 Talk FM, the talk of East Texas.